I have a strong tendency to never leave when I say that I'm going to. Do you guys have those tendencies? Well, what can I say? Story of my life. So, I am currently on my way to my old job where I've quit twice, so I suppose the third time's a charm for me. Third time's a charm for a lot of people, sometimes the fourth time, the fifth time, the sixth time. I just want another job. It's not like I'm gonna quit Wendy's. I mean, a part of me does want to quit Wendy's, but another part of me wants to stay at Wendy's because I have abandonment issues and I feel guilty if I leave. So for the same reason that, you know, I wouldn't want, you know, my parents to walk out on me, Well, you're a parent now? Is that it? Is that how you feel? You're the parents of all these customers that need you. I mean, I tell myself these things, I guess, because, like, I want to feel like I'm important on some level. But I also tell myself these things because I know that I am important. I know that I'm really good at my job. And it's not like I don't think anybody else can do my job. It's not that hard of a job. It's just that it seems to me that a lot of people have a really difficult time multitasking. You know, like I've worked with people that have done food service for a long time and they still can't take an order and make a drink at the same motherfucking time. They still can't, like, do two things at once. But because of the way that my brain works, hold up, I'm gonna adjust this a little bit. Is that better? It's an interesting angle. Sorry, I can't block out the sun, y'all. I wish I could. I've been trying to do this my whole life. But unfortunately, it's still out there. You say unfortunately, and you're an ungrateful bitch, because without the sun, we would all fucking die. That's the truth, though. It really is. So, yeah, I'm really good at multitasking. I mean, a lot of people, Jesus fucking Christ. Oh my God. Oh my God, I hate you right now. I hate you, sunlight. I hate you so very much. See, I have like the fucking visor up and it's not working. Jesus Christ. But see, I have to look in that direction because I have to wait for the light to turn green. Wah! I know, this is a first world problem. This is like a wonderful example of that. Okay, so anyway, what was I talking about? Multitasking. Yeah, multitasking for me, I think it's fun. I think it's a lot of fun to multitask. It makes the time go by. And when you turn it into a game, you can win that game. But it has to be your own personal game. You know, and I don't think that people that haven't worked in like a stressful environment, like they don't understand that like the more stress the better, because the more you're forced to have to adapt. You know, like it's a good thing. People don't realize that they're really doing themselves a disservice when they insist on being coddled. And the fact that we have, you know, like college professors that are doing this shit, you're not a college professor. Well, I mean, I guess you are, but you're not much of a help to these kids if you're gonna insist that they, you know, act like little toddlers. It's like college is the new nursery school, you know? In a way, I feel sorry for these kids, because if they're being taught to behave that way, if their behaviors are being not only like tolerated, their behaviors are being encouraged. You know, these like safe spaces and microaggressions and shit. It's like every single time that I hear about something stupid, I just always assume that it's a joke, but it's not. It's just another thing that liberals are doing. And I'd really like it to be a joke. I'd really prefer this to not be reality, you guys. I would prefer that people work hard. And I think that's why, you know, it's hard to be an artist right now, y'all. Especially with all the censorship going on. I mean, people, they gotta make a living somehow. And if they're making a living through their art, well, they best find another job. That's what they should do, so they don't have to censor themselves. But, I don't know, I'm not gonna censor myself. That's why I made the decision that I'm not going on Patreon, because, like, I'm not going to curb the stuff that I'm passionate about, also that certain little candy asses don't get upset. I mean, I really haven't had to deal with it, though. Like, not online anyway. I haven't had to deal with a lot of backlash. I did tell you guys about the guy that compared me to Joseph Stalin. And I took that as a compliment. So I was like, well, you probably do sound like a dictator. So he really inspired my "if I were a dictator" joke. If I were a dictator, you guys, people that think that dubstep is a musical genre would not be allowed to smoke weed. There would be a lot of people in this country that would not be allowed to smoke weed. Women wouldn't be allowed to vote. If you haven't read the Constitution, you shouldn't be allowed to vote. Do you think that that's a good rule? If you don't know this country's history, yeah, but the thing, you shouldn't say that, because, like, you know, you don't even know this country's history. Like, you're not a scholar. Well, yeah, but the thing is, it's really disturbing how many people are allowed to vote that don't know diddly squat. I mean, okay, if you think that women can do comedy, you shouldn't be allowed to vote. That's a good one. No, I don't mean me. I'm the exception, okay? I'm the exception to every rule that has ever existed, you guys. And I'm not saying that as my get out of jail free card. I'm saying that because if you met me and you actually got to know me, you'd realize that I'm not lying about this shit. Women are so busy playing the victim. How the fuck are they going to locate the sense of humor? I mean, that's what comedy is. Comedy is specifically not playing the victim. Going out of your way to not do that so that you can laugh at the situation as opposed to cry. Or maybe you cry until you laugh, but at some point you laugh and you don't just continue to cry about all the ways that people mistreated you or discriminated against you or what have you. I've decided that I'm not gonna name people's names anymore because it's not like, oh, well, I don't want people coming back at me or whatever the fuck. It doesn't matter. But I just feel like it would make my comedy better if I didn't just assassinate people. You know, because really what I want to assassinate are ideas that I think are stupid or you know, lies that the media tells. So if I were to just do a rant about, you know, the CNN panel, like I don't think it would be anywhere near as effective as if I bitched about it in a way that was more constructive, that wasn't just like, you know, character assassination. And also, it's good because I would sort of like force people to have to try to, you know, figure out who I'm talking about. You're like, she must be talking about Samantha Bee again. See? I lost you guys already. I can feel it. Because you're like, I don't like this character assassination. I didn't even say anything. She's not funny though, but we all know that. But yeah, that's the thing. Like, I were to do a joke about her, and people have a hard time laughing at something if they think that, oh, you're making fun of somebody specifically. You know, like if I were to make fun of like a bunch of like retarded people. Like mentally challenged, like literally retarded people. I'm not going to do that because I'm not that low. And people that I make fun of are people that act retarded but have all their fucking brain cells and are fully functioning, and yet this is what they do. I'd say that's pretty pathetic when a mentally challenged person is still smarter than you because you're too busy on your fucking phone. But anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, like if I were to just like make fun of retarded people, I feel like that would be a joke that would be, well, it'd be controversial, but I'd still be able to get away with it. But if I made fun of like an actual retarded person, like, I don't know, I'm trying to think of a famous mentally challenged individual, but I can't at this point. Who's that guy in Flowers for Algernon? That was a fictitious character! That doesn't count. It's a fucking work of fiction. It doesn't count. Sorry, I'm trying to get an even better angle. See, I can't see anything right now, you guys, because of the damn sun. All right. So, yeah, people get upset for other people. I've noticed that. They think that the more offended they get, the more loving and tolerant they look. Which doesn't make any sense because they're not loving and tolerant towards the people that supposedly offend them. I mean, I've had to deal with this on so many levels throughout my life. You know, I've dealt with this in school, I dealt with this in church, I dealt with this in AA meetings, for Christ's sake. AA meetings, bars that I do comedy in. I mean, if people get offended at an AA meeting, and they get offended at a bar where people do comedy, if other comedians get offended by comedy, I mean, that should tell you right there that, I mean, a lot of people don't think of comedy as an art form, or they don't think of it. And I don't want to be like, well, you have to think of comedy this way in order to be a true comedian, because that's not true. I mean, there are plenty of comics that other people find funny that I personally don't, but that doesn't mean that those people aren't funny just because Amy Gross doesn't find them funny. That just means that, you know, it's not my cup of tea, you know? But I think that there are plenty of people right now that are not doing comedy. Like, they call themselves comedians, but that's not what they're doing. They're pandering. And pandering, it is a lot like playing the victim, because like you want people to feel sorry for whatever you're talking about. You hope that people are on your side about it, right? And that's what you're expecting. You're expecting everybody to hate the president as much as you do. So whenever you call him orange, that'll fly, right? Because you're saying the same shit that we can all agree on. Why do they call him orange? I don't know the answer to this question. Is it because of his skin or is it because of his hair? I can't figure it out. But, assailing the president right now is not brave or courageous. You're not speaking truth to power, all this shit. If you actually spoke truth to power, you'd probably be dead, you know? But luckily in this country, because of that Constitution that Antifa would like to burn, because of that Constitution, we can say whatever we want and we don't have to worry about being detained, you guys. Like, that's a really big deal. And a lot of people in other countries, they don't have that luxury. Like any country, really. They don't have the luxury of being able to assail the government officials. They don't have the luxury of being able to make fun of something that people think is really serious. So, you know, all these people that complain about hate speech, it's like, you wouldn't be able to do that if you didn't have that First Amendment that you want to take away from other people. So, it's frustrating. It's always going to be frustrating, you guys. It's always going to be frustrating to be an intelligent person living in America, because when you're an intelligent person living in America, and I don't even mean like, oh yeah, like I said, I'm not a fucking scholar. I mean, I use the F word like every other word, so I'm really not that smart, y'all. But it's like, I know that I'm smarter than like most people I know because I don't have a smartphone. So just for that reason alone, the fact that I'm not doing what the rest of society does and thinks that they need to do in order to be successful, in order to get things accomplished, in order to have friends and be social and all that bullshit. It's like, I am so lucky that I don't subscribe to all that. A lot of people tell me that they're so jealous of me because of it. Shout out to my friend Micah Dean, who I do stand-up comedy with. He's like the only person that hosts a mic that is not afraid of me. He loves it. He loves it when I go up there. And he doesn't like the president too much, and he still loves my stuff. So he calls me Make America Gross Again. Fuck yeah. Hold on one second, you guys. We gotta fix this camera situation. Is that good? Not really, but it'll work. Okay, so we are actually early. Cheers to myself. Yeah, I was about to say you haven't taken one sip yet. Yeah, but we were about 5 minutes early. That's good, because I didn't want to do this. I had no desire to get up early just to come talk to a manager. Yeah, well, it's something you gotta do in order, you know, to get a job. See, there are lots of things you gotta do that you don't want to do. But once you do them, it's over and you don't have to do them again, right? Unless you fuck up and you get fired, you gotta go look for another job. But I've noticed that like all my jobs, they tend to be like revolving doors. Like the majority of my jobs, like I could just go back if I wanted to, because I was that good of a worker. That even though I was late all the time and somewhat unreliable, whenever I did show up to work, they could always count on me to, you know, whoop my ass. But, you know, I'm lucky for that. I'm lucky because I really don't want to have to fill out yet another job application, y'all. It is slightly depressing though, like going back to like a place of employment where you're like, I'm never doing this again. I'm never going back here. Round 3. Okay, I just saw a license plate that said, "In God We Trust." There is hope, you guys, there is hope. That's a good angle right there. Somewhat. Okay. It is really weird, like, you know, if you're used to like being in a certain area and then you haven't been there in a while and you go back and like everything's changed. It's like they've torn down a bunch of buildings and now there are a bunch of new buildings that are replacing the old buildings, and you just never know. You never know what's going to happen when you're gone. What's going to change? What's going to stay the same? See, the thing is, it doesn't matter how much shit changes. Shit just stays the same now. I just saw a really adorable couple walking in a parking lot, and it just made me happy. That used to make me really jealous, but I'm just happy for people that have that. See, this is how my perspective has changed, you guys. I used to just feel sorry for myself because, like, oh, well, I'm crazy, so, you know, I can't have that. I think that if God wants me to have it, I'll have it. Eventually, I just have to be patient. You can't force anything, though. And that's the problem with, like, all these, like, websites that are, you know, trying to encourage, like, love and relationships and all that shit. It's like, just be patient, man. Eventually someone will come along. And if they don't, just keep on masturbating. It's not that hard. Get it? Well, if you have a dick, it is that hard, right? Okay, well, I'm gonna go in. See ya.